Hey everybody, thought I'd take just a quick minute since we just unpackaged some of this stuff and some of the new trapping supplies, and I got a half a dozen new traps to add to the mix that replaced some from last year and things of that nature. So I thought I'd take a minute to show you how I set up these traps. So these are MB550s, obviously with the offset jaw double spring, and they come with the base plate obviously and the D-ring on the bottom, and they come with an MB crunch proof swivel down here with J-hooks on both sides, and then they come with a little bit of chain, and then they come with another MB crunch proof swivel. And the way this one will come is it'll be J-hooked into the chain, and then the swivel's here, and then it's empty on the other side. So what I do is I add this J-hook right here, and then I add the J.C. Connor spring by just attaching the spring to the J-hook. On the other side, I put another J-hook, and then I add another MB crunch proof swivel with J-hooks on both sides, and then that is where my earth anchor is attached all the way down to the bottom. And again, because where I am here in the Ozarks, the ground is so hard, it's so rocky, it's got so much clay, I seldom ever drive the earth anchor deeper than about yay deep. So there's usually 2 to 3 inches of chain on the top that I'll have out. So basically what I have is about that much out of the ground. 2 to 3 inches of chain here, an MB swivel with J-hooks on both sides, the J.C. Connor spring, another MB swivel, J-hooks on both sides, and then the MB swivel with J-hooks that go into the D-ring. So you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You end up with 6 swivel points, the J.C. Connor spring, and then whatever chain is in this. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 8 inches, 9 inches, 10 inches at the most of chain. But you can see you end up with a couple feet total between all that and the D-ring on the trap. So that gives, you know, the animal a little bit of room to move, but not so much that he can, you know, have 9 feet of chain that's attached to an earth anchor, and then he's building up all this momentum and he's lunging and whatever. Plus the spring takes most of that out anyway, which allows the animal not to get hurt really as much because they're lunging and pulling on that shoulder or that leg. Plus all the swivels in there keep the animal from getting tangled up in grass or brush or anything like that and hurting itself. And I've never really had any issues with this kind of setup at all. If I'm going to run a drag, obviously I'm going to set that up a little bit differently. And the main difference is I'm going to add 8 or 9 feet of chain to this same basic setup. I'll do the same basic setup, except down here where I have the earth anchor, I'll have 8 or 9 feet of chain attached, and then I'll have the drag on the bottom. And then I end up with maybe 10 feet or so between the chain, the swivels, the spring, and all the extra chain, and then the drag on the very bottom. So that's really the only difference in how I set them up, is just the amount of chain that I'm adding. Everything else is the same. And that way, if you decide you don't want the drag, you pop the J-hook out of there, and you just attach the earth anchor on there. You take the drag and the 8 or 9 feet of chain, wrap it up, and you move that for whatever reason. Or if I decide I'm in an area where I just absolutely cannot put an earth anchor in the ground, and then I look in my side-by-side or the truck or whatever I'm trapping out of, and for some reason I don't have any drags or anything set up like that, I can always just pop the J-hook, and then I can attach the 8 or 9 feet of chain with the drag already attached on it. Boom, I'm ready to go. And I can, you know, everything else about the setup is the same from here up, so it's easy to go back and forth if that's what I need to. Generally it doesn't happen. I have so many drags and I have so many traps already set up, and then everything else is earth anchors. So hope that helps. That's just the way I set it up. Haven't had any issues with this at all. It's kind of like almost like a mini Western setup. Doesn't have quite as much chain on it as maybe some of the Western setups would have, but for where I am, this seems to work really well, and I just don't think I need that extra chain. So hope that helps. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and be careful out there.